Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Jeremy coming at you once again with Redtired Podcast, and I'm here with my good buddy, my best friend, my pal, my amigo. What's your name?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Just Jacob here. Yeah, it's been crazy for me for these past few days. I am no longer, it's official now, ladies and gentlemen, I am no longer a Texan.
Yeah, you sent me the video. You sent me a picture yesterday of your driver's license, the South Carolina driver's license, and
yeah, I'm now a South Carolina citizen.
That sucks. I'm so sorry for you. I really feel for you. But you know, I guess a paid-off house is, life is give and take. You got to give a little bit sometimes, you know. Yeah. And so we are happy for you that, you know, everything is taken care of. The transition's been smooth and whatnot. But at the same time, you know, whatever. It's South Carolina.
Yeah.
So how's the process been going? Have you settled in well?
Not really. You can see behind me, I'm still not done. We're still hanging up pictures, and what we're doing right now is situating our bedroom, because we kind of want our little, our area that we kind of, rest and, put our mind at ease through at the end of the day. We kind of want that to be kind of like our Zen area. So that actually is taking a little bit longer, trying to figure out where we want things and stuff like that. So
understood. Well, nevertheless, the process is coming along nicely. I can't wait till you get your curtains up, because
I know. I actually checked shipping, dude. I'm actually expecting a lot of things in the mail, and my wife got her cowboy hat in from the George Strait ceremony that we went to, so that was great. We literally, I was telling my wife last night when we heard the knock, I'm like, who the hell is that? I was telling her, oh, maybe it's one of our neighbors, because we were talking to her, because her husband's kind of like a contractor for carpeting stuff, and kind of like building things in the home. And we're like, well, we did ask her about what her husband kind of decided to either help us or point us in the right direction for a building, because we want to do. They have these built-in bookshelves, so you could kind of see it in the news clip, but we kind of want to expand on that, make it a little bit longer for all our books. And we thought it was that. And then when we came in, and we're like, there's a big ass package. And I was like, I wasn't expecting anything. My wife was like, I wasn't either. And it had nothing to do with it. Like, it was just a brown box with our address on it. I'm like, maybe it's terrorist.
Not today, ISIS.
Yeah. But she got her hat, and we're like, oh my God, I forgot we're supposed to be getting hats in the mail.
Well, so yours hasn't showed up yet?
No, mine's got to be a little bit, because mine's the white one.
Oh.
For more dressing up occasion.
That's fancy. You're going to have to keep that thing in the box all the time. I don't do white anything.
But yeah, my wife had to do a test drive. She wore it for a bit yesterday, and then we put it back in the box until we, when we decide to do something together, or when we find a sitter or something.
Dope. Well, I'm glad that got in, and you're gonna have to let me know how your luck plays out with the white hat.
First night, Kool-Aid all over it. No.
Yeah, you're gonna go. Hey, let's go get some South Carolina barbecue. Somebody from across they're gonna sneeze the wrong way, and it's gonna fly across. It's gonna splatter right in the center of the hat, and you're gonna be like,
yeah,
damn it. Now what am I gonna do? or even worse, it'll be like slightly off center, so like you can't just go in and put something over it and make it look like at least you intended. Like no, there's just this big red spot. What's that? South Carolina barbecue 2020. Don't want to talk about it. So last night, because this is a beautiful segue, last night the Democrats had another debate. Did you know this?
Yeah, somewhat. It kind of reminded me of someone sneezing barbecue all over me.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what happened. There was a bunch of people that were spewing barbecue sauce all over the place, and I have never been so embarrassed for an opposing party in my life. Wow.
This party is, before we jump right into the clips, but I'm just gonna say this party has been going crazy lately. Our DNC's worried. We all know this. They're so worried about Bernie and all the other newcomers that are now leaning towards more socialism than anything, like ALC. DNC just announced they're thinking about redistricting her. So all her supporters that voted for her are no longer going to be in her district. They're kind of threatening her now.
I actually am okay with that. I have no problem with that.
No, but I'm just saying that this is a party that's worried about these new people that are coming in.
I see. Well, and they should be worried because with the census coming up and the way that things are playing out so far, especially with all of these candidates, I'm going to use air quotes with candidates because there's not one person that I've saw on the stage that's going to hold a candle. It's just not going to happen.
Was Bloomberg in it again or no?
I mean, well, he got a lot of attention. So anyways, this was the 10th debate and it was a train wreck. Okay. Bloomberg, this was great. He claimed to destroy all of his political opponents in the 9th debate last week. Warren accused Bloomberg of telling a pregnant woman to kill her baby, and Biden got mad at the clock. So let's talk about Bernie, because I felt like this was a rough debate overall for Bernie last night. It's evident to me that he's stressed about keeping his position at number one. He kind of went to the aggressor phase at one point where he was trying to keep Pete Buttigieg he was trying to keep Pete Buttigieg from making this the speaking point, trying to speak over him, and Buttigieg, whatever his name is, Buttigieg just kind of gave up. And something that's becoming more evident to me, like even more now than ever, is the Democrats that in the crowd, they're kind of getting into this this realm of like, I'm actually starting to get a little bit of hope for some of these Democrats that were in the crowd. Because Bernie, like there was this one clip, there's one part in the first clip where Bernie was praising Cuba, of all places, Cuba, right? And somebody in the crowd, they basically just let him know that they're very displeased with what he was saying. And they started booing him, and this was a Democrat, obviously, who was booing Bernie. And he tried to. It was funny because Bernie, like, he continued. He tried to be like this almost this tough guy, like automatically, like, just stopped his speech right in the middle, and he was just like, "Really?" So let's go to clip one and listen to Bernie and his praises for Cuba and the response from the crowd.
What I said is what Barack Obama said in terms of Cuba, that Cuba made progress on education. Yes, I think, really? Really?
Really? Sanders, man, I mean, look, this guy, he might be the front runner. I'm not sure what the Democrats are trying to do. But I'm really enjoying this new tough guy persona that Bernie's trying to suddenly adopt. And now he's not as tough as Joe Biden, who apparently Joe decided he's going to take the gloves off and he's finally going to be a little more aggressive towards the stop clock. Biden, he literally got upset at the clock and some of the moderators as well. And
but one thing I would like to say, Bernie bringing up Castro, let's go down this scenario real quick. If he becomes the main primary candidate to go against Trump, you could kiss Florida goodbye.
That's very possible. I mean, there is a high level of Cubans down in Florida, but
yeah,
that is possible. But a lot of those Cubans also left Florida for a reason,
or left Cuba. You mean?
Left Cuba. Sorry, words escaped me this morning. Yeah, they left Cuba for a reason. Cuba is not exactly what we would call a successful state. So you do have a point there.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to Biden and the clock. What happened there?
So Biden was getting like mad at the clock, and I think he wasn't literally getting mad at the clock, but I think what it was like a diversion tactic that he was trying to use, and it failed. Because if you think about all of the gaffes that Biden's dropped over the last year, you have to wonder, like, how many times has this guy stammered and stumbled his way through a point that he's been trying, and he's trying to like.
I think as soon as he gets out of bed, I think.
From day one, as soon as I put my slippers on, I start my gaff roll. So he's trying to push his way through these points, and the only thing that in the past that was stopping him was basically the clock. And I'm out of time, and you just get quiet, right? So I think that Biden has been coached to essentially ignore the clock in the debate, as he should be. But what makes it extremely evident in this clip that he's getting angry at the clock as opposed to just finishing his point and wrapping it up with, like all the other debaters do, like people typically do. Biden is just stammering and yammering and trying so hard to get through, and then he just starts literally going after the time clock. Like, well, I can't make my point because of the clock. It was a weird thing to even to see, to envision. And I mean, he could have just very easily ignored the clock and finished his points, but no, he's got a gaff and stammer. Instead, he tries to take the comedic approach, and it fails miserably. So let's check out clip number 2, Biden getting mad at the clock.
The fact of the matter is, but I get to answer I get to answer that. Look, the fact is, here's the deal. I'm not out of time. You spoke over time, and I'm going to talk. Here's the deal. To take them down, and if we don't, look, why am I stopping? No one else stops.
Okay. Okay, sir.
It's my Catholic school training.
Okay, so.
Look, right now, if you live in a black neighborhood and you have the same exact house as the guy across the street in the white neighborhood has, your house is valued significantly less than the white. The same exact house. We've got to deal with the institutional racism.
Vice President. Mr. Vice President.
I know how you cut me off all the time, but I'm not going to be quiet anymore.
Why am I stopping? No one else stops. Oh, man.
I feel bad for him. Like, I think he got lost there for a second.
I think he did too. I don't know that he honestly knows where he's at anymore.
He's not a great speaker, just talking off the whim.
No. He throws everything to the wind, and he's just like, why am I stopping? Well, because it's you just wrap up your point. That's what the whole purpose of the clock is. I don't think that the debate stage, any of this stuff, any of these rules are really new to anyone, but it almost seems like he doesn't understand the rules. You know what I mean? But he said something that kind of bothered me a little bit. The institutionalized racism. You know, if you have a house that you bought and it's on this side, I call
BS.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. Like, listen, all right, if you're going to go buy a house, right? Is it a nice place? Man, I sure would love to have that place. I sure hope that white people live there so I can buy it from white people. No, that's not how people think. Of course not. You don't do that because that's stupid. Do you get your oil changed and then you're going to go in to get an oil change, right? Then all of a sudden you see like, oh, the guy working in the oil pit isn't white. Oh, man, I should go somewhere else. You go to the grocery store and decide against groceries because the lady scanning your groceries isn't white. No. You don't do that. It's just pandering BS. And this is all Biden's trying to do is he's trying to win the votes of minorities by playing to this victim mindset. He's completely ignoring the minority voters who don't subscribe to victim think. Same house across the street, valued less because who owns the house? Come on, Biden. You're drunk. You're stupid. Go home.
There's a whole lot of other things that go into why the house is less than yours across the street.
Yeah.
It could be yard maintenance. It could be the number of trees in his yard, that alone, and much less what's inside of it.
Well, it also...
And who owns it.
I'm going to take the Ben Shapiro approach. My wife is a doctor, that thing. My wife's in real estate. Okay. One of the first things you'll ever learn about real estate when you go to do a real estate transaction is the house has to be appraised. So different people appraise different homes on a regular basis. There's all these different scenarios and different factors that you have to consider when you're appraising a home. It's not just like, well, that house is on this side of the street and this house is on that side of the street. Oh, wait. Ooh, dude, I didn't notice there's black people living in that house. We better go ahead and lower the value. No, they don't do that. That's stupid. And anybody who believes that they do that is stupid. Anyway. So Biden obviously must. I think he showed up drunk. I don't know how to explain it any other way. And Bloomberg wasn't far behind. So with Bloomberg, Bloomberg claimed that he won last week's debates against all these other Democrats. And we talked about this last week, and he got scorched in the 9th debate. I mean, it was a complete slaughter. He got demolished. But in the 10th debate, Bloomberg came back and he was talking about how he won the debate from last week. And my assessment, I actually thought like this is kind of a Trump move. This is a Trumpian thing to do where you come back and you say, hey, this is what I did. This is what it was great. It was wonderful. It was huge. Right. And then you repeat it so many times, people hear it and they start believing it. So let's go to clip 3. This is Mayor Bloomberg claiming to have won last week's debate.
Given nobody pays attention to the clock, I'm surprised they show up, because I would have thought after I did such a good job in beating them last week that they'd be a little bit afraid to do that.
I did such a good job in beating them last week. Did you see Bloomberg beating anyone last week?
No.
I didn't either. I guess maybe everybody just forgot about the other Democrats and how they destroyed Bloomberg on stop and frisk. Oh, we don't want to talk about stop and frisk. We forgot all about that, right? I didn't hear it brought up this time around. And Bloomberg, like, he's not even relevant in the latest polls. Warren, I think she kind of believes otherwise, because she did have more offensive on Bloomberg. In fact, this was a big one. She was suggesting that Bloomberg had told one of his employees, I believe it was, at one point to go ahead and kill her unborn baby. Now, this is a direct quote from Elizabeth Warren saying that Bloomberg should tell one of his employees, kill your baby, right? Unborn. We're talking about a baby here. Now, let's stop and just examine that phrase for 30 seconds. I thought that the Democrats were all about women's health care, right? Was this a Freudian slip? Am I missing something? Let's play clip 4, and I want to see what you got to say about that.
At least I didn't have a boss who said to me, kill it. The way that Mayor Bloomberg
never
alleged
said
to
that.
have said to one of his pregnant employees. People want a chance to hear. People want a chance to hear from the women who
I never said that.
What do you think? Is Elizabeth Warren moving into an anti-abortion position all of a sudden, or did she just forget which team she's playing
conservative, for? Yeah.
I thought abortion and women's health, I thought that was a left-wing position.
Yeah. I'm thinking what's happening here. I think what she's trying to do is show the voters of her party to be like, the women should choose, not the male. Kind of deal.
Well, she didn't clarify that very well. She certainly put her foot
Did they all drink before coming on? Jeez.
I think so. I really wouldn't put it past them to be behind the curtains and everything, and shaking hands and schmoozing each other and patting each other on the back and congratulating each other on a job well done. And blah, probably having drinks together, taking the edge off a little bit. Here, have a sip of whiskey because there's a bunch of people out there. We got to go out and pull our BS again. I don't know what it is, but it's a flip-flop thing, right? I thought, because most leftists, they wouldn't dare ever refer to an abortion as murder in their narrative, just the way that Warren did. Because usually what they're saying is like, well, it's just a clump of cells. So which is it? Is it an actual unborn baby? Is it an actual life, or is it a clump of cells? So what we got is Warren. Here's her problem. She's a flip-flopper. She has a complete lack of consistency. It's clear to me that Warren's been struggling at this point. That she finally recognizes it. She's backpedaled so many times, time and time again. Like, would you go back? She took the DNA test. That was a huge mistake, trying to show her that her Native American claims were legitimate. And it put her into this huge, huge blunder that discredited her. And now she's perceived as weak. I think she's been perceived as weak from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Since birth.
Since birth. It's a genetic defect. I can't help it. But the irony... So I think the irony of the Warren campaign is that the push for, actually, this is another flip-flop. The push for free college, and yet Warren herself, former professor, she had no issue whatsoever in taking a paycheck from the universities that she now is claiming needs to be free. And so I would ask, well, Elizabeth, how do you plan on paying the staff at the college for free education? Don't they still have to survive too? Oh, that's right, but the taxpayers have to foot the bill. So it's not actually free, is it? Okay, gotcha. Elizabeth Warren is toast.
Well, I don't think she cares where the money comes from, as long as it fits her agenda of a larger government.
Yeah, it's a good point. They give you kind of like the false hope You know, we're going to pay for the college. We're going to make sure that everything is taken care of for you. But I mean, like, wait a minute. The greatest governments, like the biggest governments in the world, can't even stop the coronavirus from spreading. And you think that people in the government are going to be effective enough to actually find a way to pay for your college and make it worth your time? I don't think so.
Nope.
So Warren's got her own problems, but some, like, her problems, they're far less stupid than Joe Biden. Oh, Joe, what are we going to do with this guy? So Joe Biden blamed Bernie Sanders and the others for the gun deaths. Get this, for the gun deaths of 150 million people since 2007. You heard that right. Joe Biden said 150 million people have been killed since 2007 by guns. Have you heard of this? Is this news to you?
When wouldn't this happen? I think this would have been pure genocide.
That's kind of where I'm getting it. I don't understand where you got this number from. The population of the United States alone has apparently almost been halved by Joe Biden's statistics. I'm pretty sure that this is just another one of Joe Biden's gaffes. But come on, dude. I know Democrats are allergic to numbers, but this guy just cements it further. He is losing his cognitive functions, or maybe he's just plain dumb.
Maybe in global, but not America.
So if we had 150 million gun deaths in the last 13 years, I think we probably would have heard something about it, especially out of the left-wing media.
I think he's throwing in military stuff, Africa, you know, where there's continuously conflict, Ukraine. Is he adding all those and it's still their fault?
I don't know. That's a good question.
And not even mention what China, because we don't know what's happening. You know, they're pretty tight in what they let out to the rest of the world.
But 150 million. So let's put that into context here for a second. So
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, like, what kind of numbers is he using?
I know.
I think he found one.
Trying to find the path of least resistance here and try to make some sense out of what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for context, if we think about this, the coronavirus has killed 2,700 people that we know of worldwide.
Yeah, and it's everywhere, the media-wise.
Yeah, and this is just what we know for sure. Now, 2,700 worldwide, and yet nobody has heard jack about the 150 million gun deaths that Biden's claimed last night. Come on, dude. Clip number 5, Joe Biden claiming 150 million gun deaths.
But my friend to my right and others have, in fact, also given to the gun manufacturers absolute immunity. Imagine if I stood here and said we give immunity to drug companies, we give immunity to tobacco companies. That has caused carnage on our streets. 150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability. More than all the wars, including Vietnam, from that point on. Carnage on our street. And I want to tell you, if I'm elected and I'm coming for you and gun manufacturers, I'm going to take you on and I'm going to beat you. I'm the only one who's done it.
He's going to beat you.
Yeah. He got our number, 150 million. What a doofus. I mean, at least he knows that 150 million is actually more than the Vietnam death toll. That's good. I'm glad that he's got those numbers correct. But Biden, come on, dude, just drop out. You've done enough damage to your image as it is. You're older than God. It's time to retire. You've had a great run as a do-nothing Democrat. Just retire. Go home. Play with your grandkids. Live the rest of your life in peace. Why do you subject yourself to this embarrassment?
He's an idiot.
150 million gun deaths. I mean, I'm going to stop them. Well, I mean, listen, if you were
coming after you.
If you're such an ethical politician in the first place, you would have done something about the 150 million gun deaths a long time ago. But clearly you need to be elected president of the United States before you can stop 150 million gun deaths. Ethics 101, Joe.
The actual number is 373,663. So
since 2007?
Yeah, 373, 606.
Damn, he only missed it by 1.2
So let's
million.
round up. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. 374,000 people died.
Where I come from, we round up.
And that's by FBI standards. That's FBI.
150 million, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think this is where he got the number. FBI suggested that he got the number from reading this. And this is the closest that you'll get to that number. And maybe his vision, because he's so old, maybe misinterpreted how many zeros there were. But 1.5 million aggravated assaults involved with a firearm that's the closest you'll get since the time from 2007 and now.
So 1%. Or no, excuse me. Yeah, no, 1%. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he rounded up to 150 million from 1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You just add that extra zero. They wouldn't mind. They wouldn't tell the difference.
They'll never fact check me. I'm Joe Biden. All right. So last point. I mean, because I want to get through this debate stuff and get to something that actually has some kind of decent context.
3, 4. Let's just go 8, 0, 6, 0, 7, 7, 8. He's asking his staff.
Throw the zeros in there. They'll never know. All right. So last point. Bloomberg's slip, and this was a big one. I think it may have been another Freudian slip. I don't know, but he stumbles and accidentally admits to buying Democrat seats in Congress. It was a small slip, and you gotta, like, if you weren't really paying attention, you couldn't have caught it, or you could have easily went right over it. But it was just enough to let you know that this guy is on the debate stage and he's hiding something. So here in clip number 6 is Mayor Bloomberg admitting to buying Democrat seats in the Congress.
21 of those were people that I spent $100 million to help elect. All of the new Democrats that came in, put Nancy Pelosi in charge, and gave the Congress the ability to control this president. I got them.
Well, thank God that you got them. You know what? Here's like he spent $100 million. Maybe that's where Joe got the extra 100 from. They're getting their numbers mixed up.
Paycheck instead of the numbers.
Yeah, they were switching notes backstage. Well, this is what I'm going to say. Well, this is what I'm going to say. You know, there's been 150 million gun deaths. Well, I contributed $100 million to the Congress. All right, so I don't see why you're bragging about putting Nancy Pelosi in charge. That's probably not the best move there, Bloomberg. If you're going to convince moderates to vote for you, don't start.
Yeah, moderates hate Pelosi right now.
I think everybody hates Pelosi. Anybody except for, like, you got to be pretty unhinged to have a love for Pelosi. Another point. Taking credit for this last congressional class isn't exactly something that I think that I'd be proud of. If you've been paying attention over the last year and a half, all that Congress has been dealing with was the impeachment charade. So,
an investigation too, as well.
Maybe we need to blame Bloomberg for that. Should that be his fault because he contributed $100 million? You know what? As Obama once said, you didn't build that. So, to my perspective, Bloomberg basically, he just ended his political career by admitting that he was funneling millions of dollars to help elect officials. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jacob. A little bit of fun fact from the past, if you will. You know who Dinesh D'Souza is, right?
Name sounds familiar, but I don't
filmmaker.
know. Okay, yes.
Yeah, okay. So Dinesh was he immigrated from India. Well, anyway, Dinesh D'Souza came over, and he's a Republican filmmaker. I guess he's more of a red-leaning Republican filmmaker. I don't know if he's independent or specifically, but Dinesh D'Souza did time in prison for the same thing on a much smaller scale. So he was charged with campaign finance fraud during the Obama administration. D'Souza made a just over $10,000 finance donation, and because of it, he was accused of knowingly submitting false reports about the amounts and the sources. He did time in jail for this, right? But Bloomberg, on a public stage on national TV, just admitted to a far deeper contribution to multiple campaigns donations to multiple campaigns to the tune of $100 million. D'Souza spent time in jail for a $10,000-ish donation. But Bloomberg still walks around a free man. So what's the difference? Is this a rules for thee but not for me kind of situation? Do we need to maybe look at Bloomberg's contributions just a little bit deeper and maybe try to keep the law fair across the board?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, and people will hate Pelosi right now. Even big people that believe in big government or where taxes or money is going, because Pelosi cost taxpayers $3.6 million just for the impeachment inquiry.
Mm-hmm. And didn't they borrow that money from Social Security?
Yep.
Yeah. Did they put it back? Probably not. So there's your Social Security dollars at work, by the way. What a train wreck.
No one wants to hear this, though. At least none of the left side.
No. But she's on our team. I mean, come on. That's like finding out like when Mark McGuire got busted for steroids. Or was it Sammy Sosa that got busted for steroids? Or maybe both of them. I don't even remember. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, yeah, but he was hitting all those home runs for our team. Yeah, but he was using steroids. So do you really want to count it? I think it was Sammy Sosa. I don't remember now. Anyways, the home run derby contest, blah, blah, blah. Democrats have still lost their mind. Nobody's really surprised. So, Jacob, you ready to talk about something that's a little bit more deep, a little more context enriching? Love,
I do. Today's episode is going to be about Bernie's childhood and his date from he was born to now, and kind of share this journey of him. I'm just
You had me there for a second. I went, it is?
No, Jeremy, please enlighten me on what you've been working on this weekend.
Fitness, baby. So digging out. We're still working on our digging out series, and today we're talking about fitness. So I'm going to lay out what you gain from fitness. Besides the fact that it can help you, you can manage your weight. It can help you manage your caloric intake or your deficits, and all around, just get you looking and feeling better. There's a lot of advantages that we need to talk about. I'm also going to talk about a little bit. In fact, what I'm going to talk about first is this real weird movement with the fat acceptance and the fat shaming thing. That's been common. It's been really prevalent here. It's like last 5 years, maybe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so first off, let's talk about the fat acceptance movement. You've been on social media in the last few minutes, the last few years, that there's a ton of people they've got these different weird movements that they're developing now, like Instagram models, right? There's Instagram models. That's a thing. And one of the more prevalent Instagram models a few years back was a very heavy woman named Tess Holliday, who had this fat acceptance movement. Like, I can be healthy at any size, that kind of thing. Okay. So, in fact, I think it was called Beauty at Any Size. It's strange. It's weird. So this is a thing that's it's been highlighted by these weirdo left-wing crazy outlets like Vice News, who, by the way, they've been having a lot of financial troubles recently, probably because, they're putting out garbage like the fat acceptance movement, things like that. So if you trust Vice News, you're already making a mistake. But so for context, Vice did a video a few years ago, right, where these women, they're complaining that they can't feel sexy or dress a certain way because they're obese, and it's not acceptable to be obese. And the entire premise of the video is essentially like, well, I'm a bigger girl. I'm a heavier girl. But you know what? I should be able to dress just like that supermodel right there. Yeah. Oh, I'm big boned. Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with the ice cream that she was melting and chugging, right? No, it's because she's got big bones. So the entire premise on this video, it's a twisted kind of perspective. So is it acceptable to be obese? Fine, whatever. That's between you, your doctor, and your desired lifespan, right? I don't have any business telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Really, does anybody give a crap what you do with your life in the first place? So, to me, if you choose to be morbidly obese, then you're just choosing to incur a bunch of the results that obesity is common with. So like heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes, breathing issues, sleep apnea. There's all these different
vision.
Yeah, you could go blind from diabetes, isn't it? Or you can lose a foot of diabetes. I forget.
No, both.
Both? Dang, that's crazy.
No, yeah, your vision will start going out because of the sugars.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Okay. All right. So there's all these different things that are linked to obesity. And it's different illnesses and all sorts of stuff that can happen to you if you just like. The fact is if you just
but it's genetics.
It's not. There's genetics involved. Absolutely. Of course, genetics are involved.
But I like how they blame it and then just give up.
But there's also
no matter what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just feel like it's just I tried a vegan lifestyle for a week and I didn't lose all the weight and I just don't know what to do. All right, look, genetics do play a part. Obviously, you know, I've got longer arms than the average human being. They're freakishly long. It's weird. I can reach down and scratch my knee without bending over. They're long. That's a genetic scenario. That's not. It's not like there's no like I can't play victim mindset or anything like that. It's just part of who I am. My arms are long. The thing is when you're obese, that's a choice. It's not just genetics. So you're putting a huge strain on your body when you're overweight. And I get now. This is not an excuse, by the way, to draw attention to the fact that some people are overweight or call them names or anything like that. All we're doing right now is we're just highlighting the very real risks and implications of being obese. So the obese Vice girls in this video, they probably weighed more than I do. And I weigh 220 pounds most days. So their argument is that you can be sexy at any weight. And I think that that's silly and subjective. Subjective because, you know, there's men out there that find a heavier woman attractive. It's common. It's not like it's a secret. You know, it does happen. Some men like heavier women. Nothing wrong with that. But the majority of the men that I know do not. I've never met anybody that's like, man, that girl outweighs me. Look at her. You know what I mean? So this fat acceptance term, let's break this down, because what it really is a play on words, and all it does is it makes you feel guilty about being disgusted. And truthfully, most decent, good people, they accept other people wherever they are in their body composition. Nobody cares about body composition that much, unless you're talking about like some kind of a romantic endeavor. Beyond that, most people are just like, all right, cool, whatever. Body composition doesn't tell the whole story. You and I know that, you know, somebody can be overweight for those various reasons, some of the medical reasons that we talk about. And so as a rule, I generally don't accept people just because of their body composition alone. I'm more interested in the personality, right? You remember when you got injured, Jacob, in your back? How much time did you have to stop exercising?
There was more frequently than usual, basically, because just surgery, post surgery, and then, you know, but then again, you know, I went to physical therapy to limit the longness of the pain, because if you don't go to physical therapy, nothing's going to heal properly.
That's right.
You're just going to be in pain for the rest of your life. But yeah, I do understand what you're trying to get at, but it did slow down. I had to just know my limits.
Yeah, you definitely lost some mobilization. Yeah, that's normal. You're not going to be as mobile as you used to be. You just had your freaking spine worked on, for the love of God. I mean, I got to give a little bit of a pass there, right? So same thing happened to another guy that we served with. He had a hernia. You remember this? And he showed up about halfway through the deployment and had gained like 100 pounds. And we were all like, dude, what? How? It was amazing. Like, the transformation was like night and day. But his excuse was far different. Well, I was on my back. Like, dude, it's a hernia. Like, you can recover from a hernia really quick. You don't gain 100 pounds from having a hernia surgery. Back surgery, kind of a different story. Anyway, to the Vice News thing, where this whole Vice News thing screws the pooch, and because what they've done is they've created this outrage mob, and then they demonize the mob. The mob doesn't even exist. Most people are not like, oh my God, a fat person, I don't want to hang out with them. That's just not real. It's not real, true to life. So those people, like, they might show concern for your health, which is totally acceptable, friend to friend, when you're in a relationship with somebody and you can have those conversations. A friend should care. That's a good thing.
A real friend, yes.
A real good friend should care. You have to ignore this fat acceptance movement because it is killing people, literally killing people. It's not a good thing to bring this kind of harm to yourself, and it's no different than an alcoholic that's trying to drink himself to death.
Mm-hmm. We're the most obese country in the world.
We are. Yeah. And it hasn't changed much. You know, Morgan Spurlock made a bunch of money off of people being overweight because of his McDonald's videos and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's crazy you brought this up because last night, or right before dinner, I walked to the grocery store and get fresh food and stuff. So I was going, for dinner, we decided to eat a bowl of fruit and leftover like spaghetti that we made the day before, but we wanted to get something fresh in our body. So we ate, I went and bought oranges and stuff. And then my wife said, go get some, while you're out there, get orange juice. And I'm like, well, maybe we can make our own for one.
Yeah.
But I went by and I started reading the carton and I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. Added 40 grams of sugar per serving.
Yep. And that's,
and it's all hidden.
Yeah, it is.
And I kept reading and I'll read like the fine print at the bottom, a form of starch syrup or whatever.
Yeah, there's a ton of different things that you have to keep an eye out for when it comes to reading the labels. And sugar can be labeled in so many different ways that it's unbelievable, right? I mean,
cornstarch. There you go. That's what I was thinking.
Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, sucralose, just to name a few. Those are all different forms of sugar, and they all have an effect on your insulin. And when your insulin is spiked, what happens? Well, you're prone to gaining weight. This is why type 1 diabetics, the diabetics that are born as diabetics, have such trouble with weight management, is because their insulin is all out of whack. Anyway, so all that being said, like, you shouldn't be fat shaming people, okay? You shouldn't be dogging on somebody. You don't know somebody else's struggle. You don't know what they're going
story,
through.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had, back when I was immature, naiveness with my thinking, I stumbled in a situation like that. There was a guy when I was stationed in Korea. He was really heavy set. And I found out he was 11 Bravo, and I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen? And when I'm saying obese, I mean obese.
Not just army obese, but like, whoa.
Like real, yeah, he was big. And I'm like, why is no one chaptering this guy out? Why is this happening? And I was shaming him. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And then I ended up eventually finding out that he got blown up so badly that he got pierced by multiple shrapnels and his organs are not working properly.
That's a good scenario where it would be inappropriate to fat shame.
Yeah. And then right there and then it was the man in me. I went and apologized. Like, hey, I'm sorry. I finally found out what happened. And no joke, dude. He had more Purple Hearts than I do. And the last one is what got him. And right there, I judged his character just by looking at him, and that was wrong of me. And I found out, like, it's all medical. His organs are not working properly to break down these fats and stuff like that. So now, because of what he's done for our country, he's suffering it in a different way.
Yeah, and it happens to people all the time. You hear stories like this all the time. Or another story I heard not too long ago was about a woman who was shamed in the gym. She was talking about it was a social media thing. Somebody, just a regular at the gym, taking pictures of her on the treadmill, talking about how whatever it is that she's doing, it wasn't working. And come to find out that the woman had actually been posting her story all along on social media, and she'd lost over 100 pounds already. That guy, you're going to put that kind of stuff out on social media, like, for a person who's trying to better, like, you're a garbage person if you're putting that stuff out and you're, making fun of somebody who's trying to do something better for themselves. Because if you see somebody at the gym and they're trying to better themselves and help themselves anywhere in areas that they need, dude, encourage them. That everybody needs some form of encouragement, right? So if they're going to go over there and encourage them, just tell them that, hey, I see you here all the time. You're doing great stuff. Shake hands with them, make friends with them. It's not that difficult. If they're doing an exercise wrong, correct them kindly so they don't hurt themselves. But I mean, above all things, just be encouraging to them, because that's the hardest thing for some people, is getting out and just setting foot in the gym. Their biggest fear is setting foot in a gym because they don't want to be judged. And what they don't understand is that, like, you're not going to get judged most of the time. The truth is like 98% of the people that are there, they're just not interested in why you're there in the first place. Most of us, we're too worried about our own goals, our own numbers. Like, I really, truly, and honestly do not give a crap about the people around me.
Gym, they're there for the wrong reasons. They're there to pick up women, not really working on themselves. And when they see that, you know, their naiveness of thinking kicks in, and it's just like, well, look at her over there. That's a woman I'm not going to talk to, or this and that. And they, you know, their nonchalant comments and so on and so forth. But again, it goes back to they're there for the wrong reasons. And again, that's the person I'm not going to have in my life.
I agree.
Or not be involved with.
And that's probably the same garbage person that's posting the little videos to Instagram making fun of people trying
He's
to
probably
lose weight.
dead broke, living check by check.
Probably probably works at Walmart, cleaning the floors at night, and his job's about to get replaced by one of those little electrical doohickey robot guys. But anyway, so I mean, so you get the point, right? Like, I set foot in the gym. Like, check this out. I don't care what anybody else around me is doing. I'm thinking about, how do I feel that day? Should I run or bike for a warm up? What muscles need to be stretched the most? Is my breathing on point? Do I need to get a spotter for this amount of weight? Like, these are all the things that are running through my head. And I'm far too focused on my own workout, my music in my ears, and my podcast. Like, I'm in my own world. I don't give a crap about carrying on the elliptical trying to shed an extra 100 calories. I just don't. Most of us truly wish people well in their fitness endeavors and their goals.
I think ellipticals for a person like me, they can't stand the impact because of my back and stuff like that.
Well, there's a lot. Yeah. The ellipticals specifically. I mean, I'm not getting too deep into the elliptical side of things, but those are really low impact. The same with the bike. The bike is low impact. And that's a great thing for a lot of people, like, because you have to have those options and the cardio options and whatnot. But I don't give a crap about Karen trying to burn 100 calories on the elliptical. I'm worried about the weights. You know what I mean? I'm in my world. And that's just how most of us are. Most of the people in the gym are very approachable. They're friendly. They're very respectful. Most people are not garbage human beings like the people that Vice News tries to portray, you know? So think about it like this. If you're prepping to go to the gym, do people chastise you for going to the grocery store? Are you intimidated by other shoppers at the grocery store? Of course not. So consider the gym the same way. People are just there to get their fitness in, and they don't care what you're doing or why you're doing it. They care about what they're doing. So now that I got that bullshit out of the way, why do I even go to the gym in the first place? So I'm going to run through these real quick and give you kind of the synopsis of the whole thing. This is the crux of mental health management for me. Being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, I got to get this stuff taken care of to effectively manage my life. So number one, my big point, it can make you happier. It's been shown to improve your mood, decrease feelings of depression, anxiety, and stress, which is like the big factor for me with post-traumatic stress. I have to work on all those things. Exercise produces changes in certain parts of your brain, the parts that regulate the stress and the anxiety, all that stuff. Like, it can increase your brain sensitivity to hormones, serotonin, and I always get this word messed up. Norepinephrine. I think that's it. And those are all chemicals that relieve the depression feeling in the brain. Furthermore, exercise has been shown to reduce symptoms of people suffering from anxiety. So it can help them become more aware of their mental state and practice distractions from their fears. And here's an interesting little tidbit for you. It doesn't matter how intense your workout actually is. It just seems that your mood can benefit from exercise, no matter the intensity. So low impact, high impact, whether you go for 3 hours or 30 minutes, it's all going to affect your mood, and it's all going to help you. So you get that brain fog gone. You get the mental clarity that you desire. And that helps you with what we talked about on our last podcast, reading books. So your focus is stronger. So,
and even then, you could read books working out, listening to them.
Some people can. I don't know how they do it. No, I can listen to them. I can't read them. But but you see how they all work in tandem. All right. So point number 2, it can help with weight loss. Duh. Some studies have shown that inactivity is a major factor in weight gain and obesity. To understand the effects of weight reduction, it's important to understand the relationship between exercise and energy expenditure. So here's where this gets interesting. Your body
cut back on the video games.
Yeah. Well, you can still do video games too. Just don't let it consume your life.
Manage it. Yeah.
So your body, but this is fascinating to me. I didn't really know this until just like the last year or so. But your body spends energy in 3 different methods. You have digesting of food, exercising, and maintaining body functions like heartbeat, breathing, and the circulatory system, yada, yada, yada. But if you go on to a diet, you go into a reduced calorie intake, this will actually lower what's known as your metabolic rate. Are you familiar with the metabolic rate?
No, please elaborate.
Okay, so you have everybody has what's called a basal metabolic rate. This is essentially the function of your body just to stay alive. So if you are awake at 6 a.m. and you're walking around, you're prepping coffee, you're making breakfast for the day, whatever it is that you're doing, your heartbeat moving, your lungs being operative, your brain function, all this stuff requires energy that we get from calories. Now, if you did absolutely nothing all day long, but laid in bed and watched Netflix and just survived, you would still be expending a certain amount of calories per day. That's your metabolic rate. So your basal metabolic rate is just what you need to sustain life, nothing more. Now, that being said, if you go onto a diet, reducing your calories can actually lower your metabolic rate as well, which delays weight loss. So how that works is your body goes into a starvation mode. When it's in starvation mode, it's a little bit of a panic, which also plays back into depression and anxiety and whatnot. But then further, that calorie intake teaches your body to survive on less than you've been giving it. Whereas if you're eating more calories, then your body adapts to utilizing more of those calories for the basal metabolic rate and functions at a higher level. Does that make sense? Okay. So in order to effectively lose weight, you have to have regular exercise, which helps to increase that metabolic rate, which will help you to burn more calories in order to lose weight. Additionally, there's studies that have shown that if you do aerobic exercise, so getting the heart rate going, and couple that with some kind of resistance training, this maximizes fat loss and helps to maintain or build muscle, which is essential for keeping the weight off. Because if you're building more muscle, then you need more calories to maintain your metabolic rate. That's very confusing, but in a nutshell, more muscles means burns more calories, means burns more fat. Tracking? Okay. So that's all very complicated, but it's really not once you understand it. That's point number 2. It's real simple. So point number 3, obviously it's good for your muscles and your bones. I don't have to explain to anybody that exercise builds muscles. I'm starting to talk like Popeye over here.
You need your spinach.
I am what I am. Yeah. So exercise obviously builds muscle, but it also plays a role in building bone density. Why is bone density important?
So you don't like break your hip as soon as you make contact.
Yeah.
You know,
what's a very common injury in an older person?
A hip right there.
Broken hip. Well, yep. I don't know how I broke my hip. It's simple. You fell down and your bones are brittle because you've never exercised and you didn't eat really well throughout your life.
You were on that scooter shopping for groceries instead of walking.
That's right. Chugging down them Diet Cokes, like that's going to do anything. So because the physical activity can stimulate your muscle building, you actually grow muscle density, but if you obviously have an adequate protein intake, because that's what you need to build muscle is protein. But Exercise also releases the hormones that promote the ability of the muscles to absorb these amino acids, aka proteins. Amino acids, proteins, same thing. I'm going real simple here because time's sake. As people age, they tend to lose the muscle mass and muscle function, which leads to all these injuries and the disabilities, such as the broken hips and the hip replacements and knee replacements. But if you're practicing regular physical activity, then reduction of muscle it's not going to happen. You're going to maintain strength as you age, and you're going to continue to build bone density as you get older. So in addition to building the bone density, you're actually staving off osteoporosis. So you're fighting the possibility of developing osteoporosis later in life. And here's another little fun fact for you. High impact exercises such as like gymnastics or running can actually have a higher effect on bone density than say non-impact, like the like swimming, cycling, ellipticals, what have you. So a lot of people are actually highly encouraged to have more of a high impact, like go play basketball. That's higher impact on your knees and whatnot. Obviously take breaks, don't play basketball every single day, but nevertheless you get the point. Number 4, obviously exercise increases your energy level. Do you struggle? Do you have to get up in the middle, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon? You're like, man, I need to pick me up. How many people do that? Do you do that? Is that something that's common for you?
No.
Okay, good. Then your energy levels must be okay. Because I know a lot of people are just like, they start dragging. They're just like, man, I need an energy drink or a pick me up or something like that. If you just exercise, dude, your energy is going to be through the roof.
Oh, I stay away from energy drinks, dude.
Yeah. Well, and
actually,
you should.
I'm going to be honest with you. I look back. I don't think I've ever had one.
Never?
Never.
Oh man, I used to go through Rippets like crazy when we were in Iraq. So you've got the energy levels being boosted. One study that was found said that 6 weeks of regular exercise reduced feelings of fatigue for 36 healthy people who had reported persistent fatigue. So simply getting out there and doing something seemed to boost their energy levels.
Even hiking, and don't be careful with it too, because remember, Jeremy, we found people that are not. They don't start small. They want to do mountains and stuff like that. Don't do that right away. Work your way up to that mountain climb, or, just like when I first started, do 1 mile, and then do that for 2 days, rest. And then the next time you do it, 2 miles, and do that for 2 days, and so on and so forth. I'm not, work your own habit and how you want to get there, but don't start right away. Me and Jeremy found ourselves in a situation that we spoke about earlier in an earlier podcast, that someone got injured because they just weren't suited enough. And he was elderly. But when you start getting older, you really got to be careful to make sure that you're ready to take on feats like that. And it takes time.
Yeah. You got to build up
get there.
You definitely do.
Don't be a billy goat right away.
That guy's amazing. Number 5.
That's my goal, is to be like him.
Oh, you want to be like
his age, and still he could jump on a stage.
And you're going to need a much bigger beard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 5, exercise can reduce your risk of chronic disease. So according to the National Institute of Health, a lack of exercise is a major cause in chronic diseases. We talked about this: environment, attitude, whatnot. I believe the statistic that I cited last time was anywhere from 75 to 98% of all chronic illnesses and diseases can actually be attributed to lifestyle, the food that you eat, the activity that you maintain, yada, yada, yada. Exercise improves your insulin sensitivity. So you talk about like the diabetic thing, right? Cardiovascular issues, body composition, all that stuff. Like, yeah, those are all great benefits. Decrease blood pressure, decrease your fat levels. All that stuff is great stuff. But like when you understand how insulin works and how your body responds to sugar, like you can control so much once you just get your insulin levels under control. So so a lack of regular exercise, right? So let's contrast. if you lack exercise, even in the short term, this can lead to significant increases in belly fat, which increases your risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, early death.
Back pain.
Sorry?
Back pain.
Back pain, definitely back pain. This is the most common thing that people deal with is back pain. And you know what? Once you learn how to fix it, it's like, this was easy.
Work on your core. Yep.
You work on your core. What a lot of people don't understand is you've actually got a group of muscles in your pelvic region that come out of alignment all the time. And you can fix those very easily. Something I learned from a physical therapist. If you get one of those larger exercise balls or something, it's a large exercise ball. You see them in just about any gym. You put it between your legs or between your knees. You put your feet together and you try to squeeze the ball as much as you can and try to compress the ball as much as you can. The muscles in your pelvis will realign, and your back pain, I mean, it's almost instantly gone. I walked around with back pain for years because of a bad mattress. Went visit a physical therapist there at the VA. She showed me just a couple of exercises, actually really stretching exercises, and this was one of them. And that ball has been more magic for my back pain than anything else. And I've got injuries in my back. So food for thought. So, anyway, daily physical activity. Just make sure that you're doing something. My God, yesterday I just took my dog for a walk. I've been on kind of a break from the gym. I'm not pumping iron all the time because your body has to recover, right? So go for a walk. Take the dog for a vigorous walk. Low impact. It's easy enough. Anybody can walk 2 miles. No big deal, right? Easy enough. Bam, belly fat gone. Number 6, you can take care of your skin. Exercise helps your skin. Interesting. So your skin can be affected by oxidative stress. So in other words, like, have you ever seen somebody who's got like the severe acne going on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's kind of one example of somebody who's dealing with a lot of stress. They have a breakout. Yeah. Sugar can lead to it too. All these factors kind of come together and form the health of your skin and the oxidative stress and whatnot. Well, anyway, a lot of this oxidative stress occurs when your body's antioxidant defenses can't completely repair damage that the free radicals cause to cells. So, and this can cause damage to internal structures, and eventually it causes deterioration of the skin. Regular moderate exercise can actually increase your body's production of natural antioxidants, which helps to protect the cells. So in the same way, exercise can stimulate blood flow, it can induce skin cell adaptations, and this actually delays the appearance of the skin aging process. So if you want to continue looking pretty and you want to keep being that Instagram model and you know that the filters aren't going to work forever, well, by golly, you're going to have to go ahead and hit the gym. Number 7, it can help with brain health and memory. And this kind of goes back into with the very first point that I made, where it can make you feel better, which, of course it can. But exercise can improve brain function and protect your memory and your thinking skills, which, again, for somebody like us, both who've been hit by IEDs, traumatic brain injury, that stuff is very, like, I miss being able to remember everything. That was nice. So I want that. So I make sure that I exercise to keep my brain as healthy as possible. What this does is essentially, in increasing your heart rate, promotes blood flowing faster through the body. When the blood flows faster through the body, Jacob, that engages more oxygen to the brain. The more oxygen the brain gets, the more stimulated the brain can get. This can also stimulate the production of hormones that can enhance the growth of your brain cells. Also, the ability of exercise to prevent chronic disease can translate into benefits for your brain, since your function can be affected by certain types of diseases. So regular physical activity is basically, we're talking about, this is an essential thing. Regular physical activity is essentially important in older adults, since aging combined with oxidative stress and inflammation promotes changes in brain structure and function. Point number 8, it can help with relaxation and sleep quality. Regular exercise obviously helps you get better sleep. Why? Because you're tired at the end of the day. In regards to sleep quality, the energy depletion that occurs during exercise stimulates recuperative processes during sleep. Moreover, the increase in body temperature that occurs during exercise is thought to improve sleep quality by helping it drop during sleep. Many studies on the effects of exercise on sleep have reached similar conclusions. One study found that 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity per week, that's per week, can provide up to 65% improvement in sleep quality. Dude, you can't do 150 minutes a week of activity? Come on. Who doesn't want to sleep a little bit better? Another study showed that 16 weeks of physical activity increased sleep quality and helped 17 people with insomnia sleep longer and more deeply than the control group. It had also helped them feel more energized during the day, eliminating the need for all that caffeine or that midday pick-me-up. Point number 9, it can reduce pain. Enough said. What more do you need to know? You want to hear the studies on all this stuff? I can go over the studies, but you don't need... I think reduction of pain is pretty self-evident, right? So screw it. Point number 9. Point number 10, it can promote a better sex life. Exercise has been proven to boost your sex drive. Regular exercise can strengthen the cardiovascular system, improving blood circulation, tone muscles, and enhance flexibility, all of which improves your sex life, obviously. Physical activity can improve sexual performance and sexual pleasure, as well as increase the frequency of sexual activity. So if you're a guy, say 40, 50 years old, and you're, kind of losing your edge, go to the gym, dude. Just go to the gym. Go pick up something heavy. You'll start feeling more manly. You'll start feeling like a man. Not just a macho man, but you'll start feeling like a man. And when you feel like a man, what do you want to do? You want to go do man things.
Yeah. One thing I noticed going to when it comes to exercising and stuff that, and especially being injured, it kind of did affect my sex life, immediately right away, and I didn't catch on to it until I started noticing, like when I started going back to physical therapy and figuring out the different types of exercises and stretches that I can do to still kind of maintain a healthy lifestyle while, working with this injury basically.
Right.
And the more I contributed to becoming like that person of, I don't want to live like this, the more I've noticed that my sex drive started going up. So yeah, I'm a firm believer on that. And it also contributes a lot. And you spoke about it earlier about the chemicals. Yeah. Hormones and stuff start going back to normal, basically where they need to be.
Yeah. It does affect, your blood has so many different little secrets in it that people like the medical community, they can look in your blood and they can look at all the different numbers and everything, see all the stuff that's going on within your blood and your different, all these different factors, all these different things, testosterone levels and yada, yada, yada. And they can pinpoint and tell so much about a person just based on looking at their blood. It's an amazing thing, the technology that we've got and how quickly you can figure all this stuff out in a matter of, minutes. And it turns out that your physical health and your mental health and all that stuff, they're all deeply correlated with one factor. Do you exercise? So to kind of wrap this all up with this neat little bow, like we always like to do, the end goal, the end statement here for anybody who listens to the Digging Out series or Retired in general is to say, look, we need to figure out the best way possible for us to move forward into an area of absolute total success. And sometimes absolute total success is just a small step forward in accomplishing some of your goals. So to clear your head, to clear your mind, to make your body function at its absolute optimal performance, you have to do some form of exercise, which is why we've had that catch line from day one. Do some freaking push-ups, right? Why? Because it's a form of exercise that gets the blood flowing, it gets the heart rate going, it gets endorphins flowing, it gets the oxygen pushed through your system, your body begins to work the way that it was designed to do, and all because you put in a little bit of resistance training and maybe even a little bit of cardio, depending. I don't know. Push-ups can be different for everybody, and that might get your heart rate going in a different manner too. But you're getting all of this stuff, all these things that benefit you. It's not just a catch line, do some freaking push-ups. It's me telling you to go and live the absolute best life that you possibly can, and understanding that this is part of the process to becoming something bigger than I ever imagined.
And that note, just do some freaking push-ups.
Yeah, I guess I do some freaking push-ups then, huh?
I hope y'all learned a lot, and we're actually putting a lot of effort into this, guys, or ladies and gentlemen, and we really want you to at least think about taking some of this avenue take this avenue of approach to kind of work your way to living that better life. That was our goal, and our intentional goal when we first started Redtired was to try to not just spread the word of like current events or anything else like that. There's enough of that. The thing is to try to get you to be in the position to get rid of that 9 to 5, get rid of, that mentality of thinking of like, well, I'm just going to settle where I'm at. I'm 150 pounds overweight. I'm just going to settle. No, just try to change that way of thinking and just continue to try to achieve that good life, and whatever the good life might mean to you.
I like what you just said. Never settle.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually that's actually a little a catch line or a catchphrase for another company that makes cell phones. It's called OnePlus. Never settle. Yeah, dead serious. We're not trying to steal that. That's just a true facet of life. Never settle.
Yeah. Well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great day.